Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson, and we're continuing the study that we began yesterday. This grouping of three songs about us and God. Psalm 23, Psalm 90, and Psalm 103. Psalm 90, of course, is the only psalm in the book of Psalms written by Moses. It's very telling about Moses, and it gets us into his head and lets us see the way he sees God. Psalm 23 and Psalm 103 do the same thing about David, and they all connect together. There's such a strong link between the three of them, and hopefully we'll see that today as well. What we want to do today is open Psalm 23. I'm just going to go ahead and read it. We could quote it together and then make a few introductory comments about it. And the next time we're together, we'll really get into the heart of the text. Psalm 23, the superscription merely says a psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I hope we noticed how frequently the personal pronoun, the first person personal pronoun is used. My, me, and my, over and over and over again. It's very personal, and it's about David's personal relationship with God and the way he sees it, and the way he experiences it, and the way he feels as God's person, as someone who belongs to God. It is, in a very real sense, a messianic psalm, because the shepherd, God as shepherd, is connected with the Messiah in Old and New Testament. Ezekiel chapter 34, the Messiah is going to be God's shepherd to bring in God's sheep to good pasture. Even the sheep that he has that are not of the primary fold, he's going to bring them in. And then Jesus in John 10 says, I am the good shepherd. I give my life for my sheep. My sheep know my name, and I know them, and I call them out by name, and they follow me. I come that they might have life and have it abundantly, have it to the full. It's also one of three consecutive messianic psalms in that first book of Psalms in the book of Psalms. The book of Psalms really is a collection of 5 books of Psalms, and each book begins with a wisdom psalm and ends with a praise psalm. And each book contains in it messianic psalms, messianic prophecies. Psalm 22, 23, and 24 make a set together. They make a suite of psalms about the Messiah. And in Psalm 22, we have the Messiah as sacrificial lamb. In Psalm 23, we have the Messiah as shepherd, good shepherd. And in Psalm 24, we have the Messiah as king. In Psalm 22, we have the Messiah himself expressing his experiences on the cross. And David wrote all three of these songs, by the way. And I think in Psalm 22, you really do have David channeling Jesus on the cross, prophetically sharing Jesus' experience on the cross. We'll look at that in a different study, but read that on your own if you doubt that. It's pretty obvious. In Psalm 23, David is saying, "This is what it's like when God is your shepherd." And we as Christians know this in a way other Old Testament saints did not know it, except perhaps for David. He's the only one who expresses his relationship to God this way in the Old Testament. It's a very New Testament way of looking at things. And then in Psalm 24, we have an enthronement psalm where the Messiah is the king of all. He's the sovereign of all. Psalm 23, verse 1, really is David's statement of faith. and explains everything there is to know, really, about David. Verse 1, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, I have no need. David spent his young years as a boy, as a young man, as a youth, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, up through his 15th, 16th year as a shepherd of a small flock of sheep. And we know from 1 Samuel chapter 17, when he's telling King Saul that he's prepared to fight Goliath, that while he was watching those sheep, he had to fight a lion and a bear. And he says that he literally snatched the lamb out of the mouth of the lion, and that he grabbed him by his beard, by his mane, and struck him in order to rescue. The level of bravery that David had to have. And you know that in those early years, 12, 13 years old, and he's out there in the night, and predators are everywhere, protecting those sheep, that the level of fear had to be enormous. But at some point, David realized something about himself before God. And he realized this: the Lord is my shepherd, that I have someone watching over me who's responsible for my life, who's responsible for my well being. And it's no one less than the God of heaven and earth. He's my God, He's my shepherd. And I have that relationship with Him where He will carry me on His shoulders. He will carry me in His arms. He will take me where I need to go so that I can have everything that I need to have. And that's what this psalm is about. And that's why we love it so much. I don't think any passage in anything that David wrote gets to the center of his beating heart than this psalm does. That's why we love it so much. There's a reason. There's a reason why it has such a magnetic pull, and why it is just so beautiful and yet so simply said, because it really does express the way David feels about God and the way God makes David feel in his life. And it's the way we all want to feel. And it's the way Jesus makes us feel as well, if we would just accept his love and love him back. That's why we love this psalm so much. It's such a New Testament statement of faith right there in the middle of the Old Testament. Next time we're together, we're going to look through these verses a little more closely, look at the structure of the psalm and what it communicates. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.